All right, we'll go ahead and kick things off. So welcome to Amtech Software Advanced Planning Board webinar. We're excited to introduce our latest innovation to all of you. I'm Michaela Connolly, Senior Marketing Manager. I'll be moderating this discussion. We have with us Eric Nolan, Senior VP of Strategic Development, Joshua Wright, Product Manager, and do we have Nancy on here too as well?
Nancy will be joining us momentarily.
Okay, perfect. So we also will be having Nancy soon. She's Product Manager. We look forward to having you join us today. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll save them to the end. And I'll pass it over to you, Eric.
Great, thank you very much. I hope everybody can see my screen. Josh, you'll let me know if you don't.
Gotcha.
Okay. What's that, Josh?
Cool.
All right, great. Yeah, and Michaela mentioned it, but you are all muted. So if you do have questions, feel free to enter those in the chat for the GoToWebinar chat on the side there. And then we'll try to get to those questions before the end of the webinar. And any questions we don't get to, we'll make sure to send those answers along with the recording of the webinar. So I want to welcome everybody to today's webinar. We're real excited to show you a preview of this latest innovation called Advanced Planning Board. And as Michaela mentioned, Josh is the product manager responsible for all of the extensions, which include Advanced Planning Board, Scorekeeper, Ava, all of the extensions to the EnCore ERP or Imaginera ERP. And Nancy is our product manager for the core ERP that you know and love, EnCore and Imaginera. And so our agenda today is pretty aggressive. I want to show you all as much software as possible. So I will move kind of quickly, but we will have a recording available to you afterwards. And as I mentioned, feel free to type in your questions in the chat. We're going to do a quick overview of the planning board from a high level. Then we're going to drill down into the main views that the schedulers will use day to day, the board view, the lineup, machine lineup view, and the orders view. Then we're going to go into our key performance indicator, KPI dashboards and reports that are available within the system. Then we'll take a stroll through administration and show how easy it is to set up and maintain the system. And then last but not least, how you can get started using this great new product. But before we get started, we'd like to start a little poll here, and I think Michaela can start it. Maybe I can do that real quick. Well, you know what we'll do? We'll skip the poll and we'll come back to it when Michaela comes back. We're going to go into an overview of the module first, and it's called Advanced Planning Board. We like to call it APB for short, and I'm sure our customers will soon be using that same acronym. So I'll use it throughout, so I don't have to say Advanced Planning Board so many times. It is web-based and fully integrated to your EnCore and Imaginera software. And what that means to you is that you don't have to go into separate systems to find other data. So if you're using other scheduling systems, you've got to have two windows open and have to rekey information into the system. APB uses a flexible points system for the algorithm to automate and fully automate the scheduling process. So you determine by machine center what values are more important to you than others in order to schedule it the way you would do it if you were doing it by hand. And APB is really good at handling multi-pass items and also multi-part items. So if your company does displays or product structures, you can easily get the status of all the parts before you're doing assembly, for example, without having to look in lots of different places. The KPI dashboards I mentioned earlier are a great tool. There are 3 different dashboards that come standard with the system. One is for capacity that customer service and others are going to love seeing. The other dashboards have to do with auditing your level of automation. So you can constantly fine tune, get feedback on how often you're going in and modifying the schedule manually, so that your goal would be to increase your level of automation using the scheduling algorithm and then allow your schedulers to have more time to do more value-added activities. And then integration means you'll have direct access to all that data that's in the ERP. That's order information, spec information, purchasing information, without having to go to different areas of the software in EnCore. And to use a wine phrase, it pairs nicely with Scorekeeper. And what I mean by that, APB can use historical speeds to do scheduling. And a good way to get good historical speeds or actual speeds is to use Scorekeeper, so you can get real accurate runtimes for the scheduling system to take advantage of. So let's go in and take a look at a high level of the interface. And I'm going to go into the software in just a moment, but I wanted to just cover a few key points of the interface. It is a tabbed interface. So when you see here at the upper part or the top of the screen, there are tabs for the 3 main views: the board view, the machine lineup view and the orders view. It is multi-plant, single seat capable. So you'll see there are drop downs for plant and facility within the plant. There are customizable machine families that you can create, and you can even just create custom views with groupings of machines. So in addition to being able to schedule multiple plants with one person, you also can split the job up and have multiple people schedule a single or multi-plant operation. The time scale that you see to the right at the top of the screen there is flexible. You can go from 1 hour all the way up to 1 month, and then you can scroll to the right. But basically that lets you see the big picture if you're out at that month level, or you can see hour by hour within that. And then all the way to the right of the screen, you'll see their action icons. Some of them are enabled only when you're in edit mode, when you're actually modifying the schedule. And then some of them are always available, like making comments or notes on an order or a task. The bottom of the screen, again, common bottom of the screen shows the engine status. So you see here in the lower left, the last time the engine automatically recalculated the schedule. And there are 2 refreshes there. One is a user refresh, which can be initiated anytime you want to bring in the latest and see the latest status on orders and so forth. And then the automatic refresh by the algorithm or the automation engine happens every 5 minutes. So you're always getting every 5 minutes a total recalculation of the whole schedule, less anything that might have been committed or pinned, if you will, that you don't want to move. Okay. So with that, hey, Michaela, we were going to try to do poll question number 1 there, which if you could enable, it would be a good time to do poll question number 1.
All right, cool.
Josh, you want to take that poll question?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So we'll take about 30 to 60 seconds here. You guys can kind of scan it, but I'll kind of give some context to it. What we're hoping to kind of get some feedback on is, how your company's currently scheduling, right? What kind of scheduling software, or not software, but how are you utilizing your schedule today? Is it a full kind of manual schedule where you're printing out things like spreadsheets? You're sitting around, you're having morning meetings every day, and you guys are kind of drawing it up on a whiteboard. Maybe you're currently utilizing SmartPlan, right? And you just have not made the jump yet to a automated software like what you're seeing. Maybe you've actually transitioned from SmartPlan into a little bit more automated type scheduling like ACS, or you might be even using a third-party tool that's possibly interfacing with our ERP. So, kind of think about how you're scheduling into, a day-to-day capacity, and, love to get your feedback.
All right, thanks, Josh. Go ahead, Michaela. Let's see. I think most people voted by now.
Yeah.
So let's see what we got here.
So we have 68% of people voted.
Okay.
We're going ahead and displaying the questions or answers on screen right now.
Oh, great. So we've got a good cross section of people using all the different tools. Well, the good news is APB can help all of you. If you're using manual methods today, or spreadsheets, or due date reports, you can take advantage and jump right into the 21st century with a bang. If you're using SmartPlan, you're going to love how the system automatically lines up the machine lineups, and you don't have to wait so long when the refresh happens, because I know that's a lengthy endeavor. If you're using our existing converting scheduling, the legacy version, if you will, the Windows-based version, you're going to love the new reports we've added and the new interface you're going to really love. And then, of course, if you're using a third-party system, a Kiwi or CTI or other, you can say goodbye to those problematic interfaces. If I look in iServe and had to count how many times I saw issues with the interface, dropping orders, not getting things back and forth. So eliminating the interfaces is a big win, and everybody's going to love the dashboards. So with that, let's dive into the software. We're going to go into 3 main views. We're going to look at the board view, we're going to look at the machine lineup view, and then we're going to look at the orders view. And the board view will show all of your machines down the left-hand side and that time scale we talked about across the top. Some things to note that are really unique. We have unique sheet supplier visibility. You can call that top line whatever you want. So if you're a sheet plant and you buy your sheets from multiple suppliers, you can have a single line or a couple lines up there to represent each one. And then we'll use color coding to show you the status of those orders. And if those sheet suppliers can give us a drip feed, which several of them can, if they're for example, a Schwarz sheet feeder or an IP sheet feeder or even a CSI sheet feeder, we're able to take a file from those sheet feeders and give a little more information. Because if you don't have the drip feed, that maybe you didn't order it yet, you ordered it, and then when you received it. But if you get that drip feed from the sheet supplier, we can tell you when it's trimmed on the corrugator, if they send it to us. We can tell you when it's off the corrugator. We can tell you when it's been loaded on a trailer, when it leaves their dock. So that's available for the sheet supplier to send us. We'll consume it, and we'll give the scheduling team that visibility. We can even schedule with it, use it in our automation engine. So that's kind of a first in industry capability. The action icons that you see that are available on the top of the screen are attached to not only the board cards here, but also on the machine lineup and the orders. And so, for example, I can tell you without even looking that this is a new order, a first-time run. It's been promised on a trailer, and that trailer is going to be late based on the schedule. It's pinned, meaning, or committed, meaning the automation engine won't move it. That lineup will stay set. And also, there are notes on that job that I might want to see. And again, you know, if you double click a card on the board, it'll bring up the job panel. So let's go just take a look at that real quick. We'll go into the actual software. As I mentioned earlier, this is the new interface that we've got across the top here with the tabbed interface, the selection of plant, customized views. So if I drop this down and say, I just want to see my flexos and die cutters, that's a view I previously created. It'll automatically let me work with that smaller subset of machines. You also then have your time scale. What's kind of neat is we show the machine names down the left here. And actually, I know by looking that this Flexo is currently running, this Langston's in setup mode, and this Bobst is down. I actually have it running in EnCore right now in PDE. These three machines are set up, run, and down, and that's reflected automatically in the planning board. We also have this really nice capacity gauge for each machine, and it's based on the time scale chosen here. When we get to the dashboards, we can look further out. But if I go out to 3 days on the board here, you'll see here that the capacities on that left-hand column will change. If I go out to a week, they'll even change more. So sometimes that's just a good enough indication of how busy are we. You can see here, I don't run a third shift in this demo company, and we're coming up on a weekend. So you can see here the non-working time when I hover it tells me that's what it is. If you do hover a card, it does give you information about the job you're hovering. And then you noticed when I was back in the smaller view here, timescale, there are some cross hatching that you see here. So for example, this red cross hatching was ad hoc downtime that was inserted. You know, that machine was going to be down because they were attending an amazing webinar. There's also black cross hatching for planned downtime or recurring downtime. So for example, this Bobst is a recurring downtime for a PM, for example, or maybe lunch or breaks. So you can build recurring downtime and ad hoc downtime, very easy to put in. And the planning board leverages the existing calendar functionality in EnCore and Imaginary. You can see here, there's a refresh going on automatically behind the scenes there. Just updated just that quickly. So that status bar on the bottom is reflecting that at 2:15 Eastern time, the refresh happened. On the bottom there, there's also job statuses. So right now, in my schedule, I have 167 jobs finishing early, 89 on time, and 41 that are late. If I click on that 41, it actually takes me to the orders tab and shows me that list of late jobs. But getting back to the board, we also have the ability on the side panel here to open up and have access to all of the different features I just mentioned, inserting downtime, recurring downtime, the dashboards that we're going to look at in a second, the reports that are available to you to run and deliver and distribute via email or Excel. And then even utilities to set up those machine settings, as I mentioned, of the views, the families. We even have a customer ranking that can be used in the point system to break a tie. You know, if all things are equal, who gets the first crack at the lineup. So all that available right from this main interface. Down below, I mentioned there's a status bar showing you notifications. So if I see that's open, I can see these latest notifications are when machines change state, when the schedule was refreshed, and so on. And you know, this is also if you're tracking orders where you might see the tracked orders being changed. There's also user notification to see who's logged into the schedule right now and are they in edit mode. All right. I'll go back to my slideshow so I don't forget all this good information. The machine lineup view, again, the color coding persists from the board view. I didn't mention that, but when we're in the board, these colors mean something. And you know, typically you can go in and see what that legend is. You get to pick what the colors are. And so like, for example, in my sheet plan here, the pink or red means I haven't even ordered the sheets yet, or if I'm in a corrugator plant, hasn't even been trimmed. If it's trimmed in a corrugator plant or ordered in a sheet plant, it'll turn blue. And if the sheets are here, it'll turn green. And if it's currently running, it's red. And then there's some status codes that can be combined. So you can see here, a hot order has a red line in it, an on hold order has a yellow, et cetera. So when I'm looking at this now, I can see these green cards all have sheets received. These red lines here mean they're hot jobs, and then these yellow lines mean the order's on hold. Double clicking a card on the board will automatically bring up the job panel that I mentioned earlier, where I can see what that hold is. I can see the expediting information that you're familiar with from order processing. I can see the purchasing information. Did I buy the sheets? Did they come in yet? I can see the factory ticket if I wanted to see a copy of the factory ticket. And what's kind of cool is you can actually click your way across and the context changes and you're able to go in and see the information job by job by job. So that really comes in handy. Like when you see comments for a job, you can click real quickly and see what the comments are. Those comments or notes are entered by the scheduler or by customer service from a right click off of an order. So it's really a two-way communication between scheduling and customer service. The lineup view that we're just starting to talk about, when you go into it, it says, what machine or machines do you want to see? And, I'll just pick a couple of these here. I think the ones that I have running. And you can have multiple machines listed, similar to what SmartPlan had, but a little bit more advanced. So you can see there, I've got 3 machines tiled on the screen. The color coding persists, so I still have the hot order there, the on hold orders, all those icons that are communicating to me the scheduler's needs. That little house icon, by the way, there's a legend for that, but that means it's a 4 inventory order. And so again, that means something to scheduling. Does it get pushed around a little bit more so than other orders? So again, once you learn those icons that are set up for you, it really makes the system smooth. And what's nice about the lineup view, if I wanted to maximize that window and work with it in full screen, I can do that, and then I can easily minimize it. We even show the Gantt. So as I'm walking down the line, it's actually marching across the Gantt view if you want to see the Gantt view there, or you can hide the Gantt view if you want to get more screen real estate. Make sure I don't forget anything there. And then the last view that we'll talk about is called the orders view. And that view you saw earlier when I clicked on the late status, it jumped right in. But that orders view has all kinds of pre-canned searches for things like orders you're tracking. And again, anyone can run this program. You use security to say who has the ability to edit the schedule, and that's usually the scheduler. But customer service, purchasing, anybody can run the program and look at it in view-only mode or read-only mode, and they can use these same searches. So if you wanted in customer service to track a handful of orders to make sure they're being run the way you thought they were, you can quickly go to that list of your tracked orders and see them. You'll even get notifications if a tracked order changes. We talked about the global search. When I go into the global search on the software, I'll show how it works across all 3 views. And all of the columns that you see here, just like in EnCore, are movable, stretchable. You can hide them or show them, and you can export them to Excel. So let's go over into that orders view, and you'll see what I mean. But before I leave the machine lineup view, just want to show you here, if I do double click, again, brings up that same job panel. And as I walk down the line here, it will change the context of the settings. When I right click an order on any of these views, you get a context menu. And if you're not in edit mode, there's certain features that are grayed out. So schedulers only can modify, split operations, insert an operation, et cetera. But anybody can see parts. So if I'm looking at an order that happens to be a set, I can see all the parts all on one screen very quickly, or I can track that order, or I can maintain compatible machines that might be able to do some load balancing for me. So I'll go over to the orders view now. And this is where I'll show off the global search. So remember I talked about that in the overview. This global search will search across all the columns. So all you need is a little bit of information. Like I'm looking on the screen there, I saw the word dream. So I typed dream in and it found that order. So how many times does scheduling get a call to ask about an order, and you have to give them the order number? Well, if you don't know the order number, but you know the customer, you know the ident, you know the customer's PO, you just start typing and it starts finding things. I just started typing ETN Sports and it found the 2 orders that I have out in the schedule for that customer. So that global search is super powerful. If I go to the lineup view, you can see here the global search also works in the lineup view. So if I'm looking for something, the word die in it, it automatically finds it and highlights it in the highlight color that you choose, which in my case is purple. And then the good old fashioned, just key in the order number and and it'll automatically highlight that order in the schedule for you. That order happens to have multiple passes. Oh, there we go. 349. And you can see there, as soon as you start typing, it finds everything that matches as you're typing. So it's a type ahead search, and it's across all of the main things. If I'm on the board view, same thing. Global search works like a charm. All right. Josh, you ready for poll question number 3 or 2?
That I am.
All right, go ahead, Michaela.
So this one, we're just going to talk really quickly and just give you some time to vote here. And it's really just going to be centered around kind of how you're interacting with your schedule on a daily basis. You know, are you touching it once or twice a day, meaning you're a little bit more hands off and you kind of have a good system in place, whether it's automation or just good procedures throughout your plant. Hourly, where you're just going to kind of pop in and out, ensure that everything's still kind of running smoothly like you had planned either the day before or that morning. Or, you know, maybe you don't have a good automation system built in, or, you know, you got some processes that you're really working on in your plant. So you have to just kind of be in your schedule nonstop, manually changing things throughout the day, and just, you know, you don't utilize your software or your scheduling software to its fullest capabilities.
Great, thanks, Josh. So what do we got, Michaela? What are the results?
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the poll now and share the results. Here we go.
All right, so we've got kind of a split there too. Some people it's once or twice a day. A lot of people do it hourly, and a lot more do it nonstop. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if the scheduling system did all that heavy lifting so that you didn't have to make those adjustments unless you needed an exception? And so that's the next area we're going to go into, and this is really where the strength of the software shows itself. And that's in our KPI dashboards and reports. And so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to give you an overview, and then we're going to go in and look at how you can interact with these. This first one is really nice tool for customer service and for scheduling to use. It's called our machine capacity dashboard, and there are a couple different ways it can be accessed. One is it's just a tab off of the scheduling interface. The other way is if you're in the board view and you click on the machine, you'll get the capacity for that machine in its own dashboard. And then the third one I think is very exciting. Customer service has it available from within order processing. So they go in order processing, they go into actions, view capacity dashboard, and boom, they get a tab open with the capacity dashboard and they can see it. We also have a schedule automation dashboard, and this is the second dashboard. And what this dashboard is attempting to do is it's showing you across your whole plant or across all the plants that are in the scheduling system how much you're letting the automation engine do its thing. And so you could have goals that, you know, maybe 50%, 60%, 70% of your plant is automated using the scheduling engine. But then you can even look at it by machine. So there could be some machines that you can just set those rules and let it fly, like Flexos, for example. I would think the goals there would be higher automation, but it gives you insight into how many times the scheduler has to go in and manually manipulate the schedule by machine. And then the goal there would be get that feedback, and that leads us to our third dashboard, but get that feedback, tweak the point system so that you can keep achieving a higher level of scheduling automation. Because remember, every percentage point we increase in automation opens up time for schedulers to be more value added. You know, we had one customer using the advanced converting scheduling old version that was able to take some of that scheduler's time and help them supervise the plant and actually supervise certain machines. So you can actually take that extra time and do all kinds of value added activities that are customer related, expediting hot orders, et cetera, working with shipping more closely, et cetera. And the last dashboard we have is called the user activity dashboard. And this one actually goes in by user that's able to do changes to the schedule. It could be the scheduler, but it could also be a few other folks. And then it audits the type of moves they're making to the schedule. So again, gives you more insight about all of the transactions that the scheduler does manually so that they can get insight on how they can improve the point system, improve the algorithm. And, you know, with some scheduling systems, to change that algorithm, to change the rules, requires a lot of services. In our case, we train you, we teach you how to fish. We train you how to use the point system when you first set it up, and then you can maintain it yourself. It's very simple to maintain. So let's just take a look at these dashboards in the software. I'm going to go over to the KPI dashboard here. And the first view, it always defaults to just one day. So like right now, my plan is 83% booked. if you will. I only have 20 hours of capacity across all my machines. If I drag that out to a couple days or even out through the weekend, what you're going to see, and I'm using a date grabber on the bottom of the screen there, that same date grabber is available in our AVA module for the dashboards we do there. But you can see there a lot more capacity as I go out through the weekend. And for whatever date range I grab there, you'll see this top right dashboard show me each day. And then this is really nice, this capacity chart by machine. So for example, if I pick the Langston, for example, I can filter on the Langston. So now you can see here, I've got a filter chosen. If I want to get rid of it, I can click that little X, but I filtered on the Langston. So that's the availability on the Langston the next 4 or 5 days. That's the weekend, we're not even running. But you can see here, I've got 8 hours of availability on Monday. If I go pick the Ward, you know, if someone wants something on Monday, I've only got 1 hour available. And if I really want to see the detail on that availability, it's right down here on the bottom of the screen. So as you choose, these other panels are updated automatically based, it's called cross filtering, based on when. So I know exactly when it's available. So just imagine how useful that is for customer service when they're looking at these machines. And of course, you can always uncheck that there. And this is for multiple plants as well. So it's all multi-plant capable. The other dashboard that we had was the schedule automation dashboard. And that's the one that's actually going out there and calculating how often are you making moves. Now, this is a demo database. And to be honest, I don't make a lot of moves in the schedule. I might go into that Gopfert a few times and move a job from one place to another. So you can see there, that's the only machine that's almost less than 100% automated. All my other machines, I'm letting the engine do its thing. But in your plant, you're going to see an overall percentage of automation. And you know, you could have goals for that. You know, you could start out where the engine's doing 50, 60% of it across your plant, and then you could zero in machine by machine. And when you click on the machine, it even tells you the moves that you made. I modified the quantity, I committed an operation, I moved an operation. It actually knows all of the changes you made so that you can continually get better with the engine. That's the goal. You want to keep training that engine how to do its thing automatically so you can really trust those numbers. Using a system like this fully makes that available. The promise feature and order processing come to fruition. So when customer service is getting a date from the system for when that job could be done without requesting expediting, that's a pretty accurate date using a system like this. The last dashboard I'll show you is the user activity dashboard. And that one, again, drills down on the individual scheduler's moves so that you can see. So I'm logged in here as Eric Nolan. You can see here, most of my changes I'm making in edit mode, I'm removing hot statuses, I'm removing press ready, I'm moving operations. So again, it just gives me a feedback on the types of things I'm doing. And if I can take that information and use it to better the system, I'll do it. Go in and talk about reports for a moment. Okay, so we have a handful of reports. So if you still like to run reports and pass them around, you can. If you were a Smart Plan user, we pulled a lot of those existing reports that people loved in Smart Plan over into Advanced Planning Board. The ACS users didn't have them, so those ACS users that upgrade are going to get some nice reporting. And those reports can be emailed or they can be sent via dropped into Excel. So the little icon there. The parameters are there to pick. You know, you can even pick a customer and list all of their jobs by machine center and give that to a customer service rep, or a customer service rep could go ask for it themselves. These three here at the bottom are kind of nice because the scheduled dies report lists by machine center all the dies that need to be prepared in the order they're going to be needed, and it shows the printing die and the cutting die numbers with their locations. So again, that's the marching orders for those departments to get all their tooling in order, in the order they need it and when they need it on the floor. The scheduled inks report does pretty much the same thing for the ink kitchen or the ink area. It's telling the ink folks, these are the jobs that are going to need these inks. And there's two versions of that. There's one by machine. There's also one by ink if you want to try to consolidate. And then the last one we added not too long ago is a scheduled pallets report. As more and more clients have custom pallet needs, you want to see if you have enough pallets in the order you need them out on the floor to do certain things like assembly work or stacking die cuts, et cetera, on pallets. So just real quickly, I'll show you the interface there. We don't have to go through every single report, but basically when you pick any one of these reports, it opens up the parameter screen. You can go out and pick the parameters you want, run the report, and then you get a preview of the report over here on the right-hand side. So you could give those departments a heads up and say, hey, you know, by next Monday, you've got to have these dies in that order. And again, export to Excel, email this to people, all very easy to do. Okay. Now, last piece of the presentation we're going to go into is the administration and setup of the system. And that's really where the secret sauce lies, that point system I talked about. And one of the things is it's centralized administration. So whoever's got the security to get into this admin tab, they're the ones that set up the users. There are roles that are set up, but this is where the magic happens. So for each machine, there are a list of all these different points that you can choose from to give that job of value or that task of value within a machine center. And the more points it has, the higher it goes in the engine. And what you look on this screen here, the last item on that particular machine was hot order, and it was 1 point. So in other words, if the sheets are here, if the die is the same, if the inks are similar, whatever those rules are that you set up, and they're all the same, if it's a hot order, it goes before the one that's not hot. And some people use customer rank. We have a customer rank feature that lets you do similar things where you can have A, B, C customers. And, you know, if all things are equal, you run the A's before the B's. So it's a way to further segregate and group, you know, customers based on their volume or based on their pecking order in your organization. User security is tied to your EnCore and Imaginera security. So there's an option in there to say, hey, show me all my users, and then you can enable them for access to APB right within the administration panel. And then within that, you can either pick a role or even use a user as an example to create a role. And so by using roles, it makes the setup of new users very easy. So if I set up all the detailed access to the different parts of APB within one user, I can say that's a customer service person. And now if I add 10 more customer service people, I just pick a role for them and they inherit that same security access. And then color defaults, I mentioned earlier, where you get to choose those defaults. You can either let users have their own color defaults, or you can set global defaults for the colors if they don't set up their own. And so a lot of people, I would think, would use global defaults, so everybody knows green means go and red means, you know, stop. But you do have the ability to have your own colors. One thing to note here, there is a different set of colors for that vendor line at the top of the screen, the sheet supplier or the corrugator. In that case there, you can see all the different fields that are available that we could get from a drip feed. Is it accepted by the sheet supplier? Did they produce it yet? Did they schedule it on their system yet? Was it loaded? Was it partial? So that's all great information for a scheduler to see when they're making decisions on whether to move jobs around. All right. The other thing I wanted to talk about is if you like what you see here, how do you get started? Well, it's currently, APB is currently in beta testing. In fact, Josh is on site at a beta site right now. And from what I hear, Josh, everything's going pretty well. Is that right?
Yeah, everything's going fantastic. Users are thrilled. They're loving it. We've got great feedback, and just, you know, we're starting to see a lot of interaction, you know, multi-department. It's not kind of siloed just to the planners, right? It's the whole plant's getting involved, and they're loving it.
Great. Now that's good to hear. I hear there's oohs and ahs when they see those dashboards. So the beta testing is in its final phase, and that'll be, as soon as that's done, which is expected to be in the next few weeks, we're ready to make the module generally available. The general release expected February. I spoke to Dana Nelson, our senior VP of product, and she said it should be within the next few weeks. The software is sold as a subscription, so that's good news for people that have not yet made an investment in a third-party scheduling tool, for example. You can get in at a low cost of entry. You don't have that high upfront expense, and the subscription includes the ongoing support. It is, if you already have the advanced converting scheduling or ACS legacy system, the Windows version, it's a free upgrade. You just need a little bit of services to get it configured and started, and all of your data is preserved. So you don't lose anything by doing this upgrade. You just pick up all the new features and the new functionality. And then we help you with consulting services to get you started with the point system, train you how to use it, train you how to use that algorithm, and how to continually update it. And if you need more information about APB, or if you want a custom demo for your site where you can have a good Q&A along the way, just contact your account manager. And if you don't know who your account manager is by now, you can always contact support, and they can let you know who your account manager is. And then there's a good chance that you and I will see each other in a future demo or meeting to discuss the product. Now, we did have, I think, one more poll question. Josh, is that right?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Yeah, so last one, I think we've saved the best for last here. So take some time, really kind of think about this and just kind of understand what the benefit, the value add to your company or organization could be by jumping in both feet to advanced planning board, right? Is this going to give your schedulers that time back in their day where they're not focusing on that a lot of administrative tasks throughout the day. They're just constantly getting pinged by customer service and customers and hot requests, things like that. Do you want to enhance that communication, cross departmentally, right, between the customer service team or the ink department, or even print plate and die tool, the tooling department? Get some of that communication flowing seamlessly. Do you want to provide accurate promise dates and really increase that customer satisfaction, improve your OTIF percentage, so on time and in full? Or, realistically, is that all the above? Does this meet everything that you're looking for in a scheduling solution? So, take some time to think about it, and can't wait to see your feedback.
Well, I don't know if I would have predicted this or not, but it looks like everybody kind of thought like a lot of those things played out, but definitely giving schedulers more time is a huge thing. But yeah, all of the above. Hopefully we have a little bit of time for questions. Josh and Nancy, I don't know if you're on, but do you see any questions out there that you might want to share with the audience?
Josh, I can go ahead if you'd like and address some of them. Yeah, here, okay.
Oh yeah, so a couple of them are, hopefully I've answered some of them along the way. If you're an existing planning board user or ACS user, you do get an upgrade to this. Like I said, there's no cost for that upgrade. It's included as part of your maintenance and support. You would have some services just to get it rolling. Let's see, I'll just see if I can grab a few more of these. Josh, I apologize. I thought you would see these. Did we change any features in the advanced converting scheduling? We did do some upgrades to the automation engine, right, from the existing converting scheduling. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. So there, you will see some different logic, some different automation taking place in both solutions. So yeah, that will go into effect.
Yeah. I also see here, is it going to be recorded and sent out? Yeah, we're going to send a recording of the webinar out so you can review it later with other folks. Here's an option. Oh, centralized admin, can it be broken out? Yeah, that one I'll get back to you on that question there about centralized admin, because you can control who can add users separately from giving them access to the planning board. But I'll reach out to that person individually. And that's pretty much it. I must have done a good job on showing the software, or at least it shows itself pretty well. But anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed the presentation. We're real excited for those of you that are interested to get on the phone and talk to you a little more about the module. And hope you all have a great day. Thanks everybody.